Hello everyone. In these rest all videos we saw the Navajata Sishu, what all care should be taken and what all the procedures should be followed in Navajata Sishu Paricharya, that is first 120 days of the baby. Now in this point we will see the high risk factor infants, which are the conditions or signs or symptoms. By seeing the baby we can say it is high risk and the hospitalized should be maintained, and what are the conditions which we know in the baby that are complicated signs and symptoms of the baby. So let's start the point. First of all, baby when born there will be the three types of babies, that is full term baby, preterm baby and post term baby. In this point we will see what is full term baby and what is preterm baby and what is post term baby, and what all the clinical conditions which are complicated in these terms of the babies. First of all, by name only we can say what is full term baby. The term completed gestation of the pregnancy is known as full term baby. And what is preterm? Baby born before the term gestation of the pregnancy is known as preterm baby, and post term means the baby born after the gestation period pregnancy is known as post term baby. Now we will see the medical terms of this definition and what are the conditions or what are the high risk conditions included in the term pregnancies or term newborn babies. So first one is full term baby. To know the what is preterm baby and what is post term baby, what are the conditions and what are the ideal range of the babies, first you should know the what is full term baby and its ranges, because if you know the signs and symptoms or clinical conditions of the normal baby, then automatically by seeing the ideal ranges or ideal level of the baby you can say it is preterm or post term, right? So first we will know what is full term baby. The baby born between 37 weeks of gestation to 40 weeks of gestation is known as full term baby, and here the ideal birth weight of the baby in full term is 2.5 kg to 3.2 kg, and the head circumference of the full term baby ideal range is 33 to 35 centimeter, and chest circumference will be 30 to 33 centimeters, and length nothing but crown heel length will be 50 centimeters, and heart rate of ideal range of baby is 100 per minute or plus or minus 120 per minute, and respiration rate is 40 to 60 per minute or 40 plus or minus 20 is the respiration rate and BP, that is blood pressure, it is off of the elder ideal range, that is 60 by 40 is the normal range of blood pressure, and normal ideal color will be pink or red, and you should know the microcephaly or macrocephaly of the baby in newborn. Microcephaly is nothing but the head size will be small compared to ideal range, and macrocephaly is nothing but larger head or big head is known as macrocephaly. This you can see by comparing the head circumference of ideal range. What is head circumference ideal range? 33 to 35 centimeter. By this you can see say the microcephaly or macrocephaly or ideal head size. If these all ranges are normal and baby is respiring normally, then you can go for routine care, providing warmth and advising breastfeeding. So the baby is ideal if and fit and fine if these all ranges are in normal range. So you can go for routine care with mother for the baby. Next, what is preterm baby? A baby born before 37 completed weeks of gestation, calculating from the first day of last menstrual period, is defined as preterm baby. The ideal birth weight is usually less than 2.5 kgs, and length and head circumference are less than or equal to 47 centimeters and less than equal to 33 centimeters respectively. That is, length will be less than 47 centimeters or equal, and the head circumference will be less than 33 centimeters, and there won't be any deep creases over the sole of the foot. In male babies, the testes will not be in the scrotum. In females, baby labia majora are widely separated to expose labia minora. The clitoris is hypertrophied, and breast nodule in preterm will be less than 5 mm in size, and poor recoil of ear cartilage after its flexion or cartilage is deficient in preterm, and eyes are kept closed always. Abundant lanugo is nothing but hairs on the body is less, and nails may not grow up to the tip of the fingers. Poor muscle tone can be noticed. Soft skull bones will be widened, sutures and fontanella. The fontanellas will be widened in size, and poor sucking and swallowing reflex will be present. Subcutaneous fat will be less, and absent or incomplete Moro's reflex will be present. These all are the features and ideal range of the preterm babies. So, if you all remember these points, then by seeing or by clinical features of the baby, you can say it is preterm or postterm without asking the mother of the term gestation. Without the case sheet or history, you can say whether the baby is preterm or full term baby by knowing these features or conditions of the baby. Complications which occurs in preterm babies. Now we saw what are the clinical features and ideal range of the preterm babies. Next, what all the complications we can face in preterm babies are asphyxia, pulmonary syndrome, cerebral hemorrhage, infections, jaundice, dehydration and its complications, anemia and retinopathy of prematurity. These all are the points which can be caused in complications as in the preterm babies. Next, clinical features will get the point as care of preterm baby. What all we should care how and what all steps should be followed in care of the preterm. That is routine care, step to prevent infections and steps to maintain nutrition. In routine care, the cord is to be clamped quickly to prevent hypovolemia. The cord length has to be kept long, and the maintenance of hygiene of the cord should be maintained, and baby should be kept warm by wrapping in a sterile towel or with the help of radiant warmer, so as to maintain rectal temperature between 96 to 99 degree Fahrenheit, and clean the air passage of mucus, and adequate oxygenation should be given to treat the acidosis if present, and administration of vitamin K is mandatory to prevent hemorrhage in preterm babies, and extremely gentle handling is needed for the preterm baby. This all comes in the routine care. Step 2 prevent infections are sites of respiratory tract, GIT, skin and umbilicus strictly visitors should be kept hygiene, and restrict visitors to the newborn baby. Doctors and nurses with nasopharyngeal infections are not allowed in the baby's room. Use sterile gowns. Hands should be washed with antiseptic solution before touching the baby, and cord cleaning, septic administration of feeds. Isolation of infected babies should be made, because if one baby is infected, all babies will be transmitted. So, the isolation of infected baby should be maintained. These all are the points to prevent the infections. Next, we will see the steps to maintain nutrition. Early feeding within 2 to 4 hours of birth. 1 to 3 hours intervals for feeds should be maintained. Methods of feeding should be tube, pipette, dropper, spoon or bottle feed. If the lactation is good, then mother feed should be preferred first. Baby placed on one side to prevent regurgitation after feed, and caloric requirement of baby is 100 to 200 calories per kg per day. Daily supplementation of vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B1 and iron is needed. These all are the points to or steps to maintain nutrition. This was the point about preterm babies, clinical features and complications, what all we will face in preterm, and what all the routine care or care of preterm baby steps are explained in this point. This is about the preterm babies. Next point is about post-term babies. The pregnancy continuing beyond 2 weeks of expected date of delivery is called as post-maturity or post-term pregnancy. When pregnancy exceeds the expected date, there is risk of placental insufficiency due to placental aging. This is the condition of post-term babies. This will be resulted into placental calcification or infraction. So, some complications will get in the post-term babies. We will see in the next slide. The main thing to remember here is the pregnancy continuing beyond 2 weeks of expected date is known as post-term pregnancy. Complications in post-term babies are termed as: during pregnancy may be fetal hypoxia and fetal distress due to delay in the delivery of the baby and placental insufficiency, and in labor the complications may be fetal hypoxia, meconium aspiration, cord compression, birth trauma and hypoglycemia. These are the complications faced during pregnancy and in labor in post-term pregnancy. Principles and aims of management in post-term babies are: treating the meconium aspiration syndrome, checking and correcting the hypoglycemia, and administration of specific antibiotics should be followed in management of post-term babies. There are 9 subgroups of newborn baby. The main groups are 3, that is full term, preterm and post-term, and it is again subdivided as 9 groups. Each term, full term, preterm and post-term have 3 subgroups as SFD, AFD and LFD. That is, SFD means small for date, AFD means appropriate for date, and LFD means large for date. This all the term babies are again subdivided into 3, SFD, AFD and LFD. So, the subgroups of newborn babies will be 9 in number. Now, to remember the terms or conditions or ideal range of full term and preterm, in short we will see the difference between full term and preterm. That is mainly the 5 points we can see predominantly has: plantar crisis, breast nodules, ear cartilage, tone of muscles and genitals. These all are the predominant features which we can differ from full term to preterm. Has plantar crisis in full term will be all present, and in preterm deep creases are absent. And breast nodules in full term it will be the size of 8 to 10 mm, whereas in preterm it will be less than 5 mm. And ear cartilage in full term full present with good elasticity, whereas in preterm deficient there will be deficient of ear cartilage with poor elastic recoil. And tone of muscles in full term flexion posture is maintained, whereas in preterm non-resistance by baby if limbs are extended. And the genitals in males, the testes are in sac in full term babies, whereas in preterm testes are in external inguinal ring. And in females the genitals in full term will be labia majora encovers the labia minora, whereas in preterm minora will be uncovered. The labia majora will be uncovered by labia minora. Labia minora will be uncovered by labia majora in females. These are the main differences between full term and preterm. Now we will see some points of Ayurvedic part of high risk infants, or the term preterm or full term infants. First of all, we will know the terms or words which we use for these infants. For high risk infant, in Ayurveda it is known as Samklishta Shishu, and preterm Achirajata Shishu, and for full term Navajata Shishu, and the post term baby is known as Paschatjata Shishu. These are the terms used for the babies. In Ayurvedic classics, very few references are available regarding the preterm babies. In some contexts, they mentioned as if Vayu is getting pathologically lodged in Shukra Dhatu before conception, the preterm delivery may occur. And in Garbha Vriddhi Karanas, if the Garbha Vriddhi Karanas are deficient during gestation period, the result may be the preterm. These 2 points they gave in some context of the Shishu. And in Ashtanga Sangraha, they said that the Achirajata Shishu, that is preterm baby, will not be able to suck the nipple. There will be poor sucking. As we saw, poor sucking reflex will be present in preterm babies. So they gave some medicines for the baby as Haritaki, Amlaki, Pippali by grinding well and applying it over the tongue with the Ghruta and honey is advised in preterm babies. Specific concept of management of preterm, low birth weight and over birth weight are not seen in Ayurveda, but general principles of immaturity, weakness and vitiation of dosha, dhatu and mala besides incomplete ojas should be reviewed, and the said condition may be managed accordingly. They gave in some context of the Ayurveda. According to Charaka, the 9th and 10th month has a period of normal delivery, he said, whereas Sushruta mentions that delivery can take place at any time during 9th, 10th, 11th or 12th month. Kashyapa said that the normal gestational period of the fetus is Kali Yuga, that is 10th month. Chakrapani has clarified that the best period for labor is 9th and 10th month. Vriddha Vagbhata simplify compliant the ideas of both Charaka and Sushruta. During 8th month of pregnancy, the ojas in the child remains unstable as it goes on moving from the baby to the mother. Hence, its delivery in the 8th month is more prone for fertility during high risk of Ojakshaya. Even if the baby survives, the Ojakshaya leads to many disorders, and it is said that much children are devoid of independent existence. That is, there will be low condition that baby will be survived if the delivery happens in 8th month. Whereas according to Western concept, delivery in the beginning of the 9th month is viewed premature, and after 2nd week of 9th month is considered post mature, and the risk of baby delivered in 8th month can be comparable as children with aminoglobulinemia. That is, the aminoglobulinemia is a group of inherited immune deficiency characterized by a low concentration of antibodies in the blood due to the lack of particular lymphocytes in the blood and lymph. Antibodies are proteins, immunoglobulins, IgG and IgM, etc. that are critical and key components of the immune system. So, now we know in modern they were saying in 8th month, as we Ayurvedic physicians, if we say the 8th month ojas is unstable, the modern people or the local people were laughing at us, that is, what is that ojas and all, and it's unstable and all. So now we can explain by scientific, that is, the condition of ojas is compared with the aminoglobulinemia, that is, the immune system or immune deficiency will be present in the baby or in mother. So if the delivery takes place in 8th month, the baby's condition will be very critical due to deficiency of immune system in the baby. This was the some explanation or some points about the Ayurvedic high risk infants. Now we will conclude this point here. So here I tried to explain some of the points of high risk infants, that is Samklishta Shishu, which includes full term baby, preterm baby and post term babies. Again, in the risk factors depends on the clinical features and health status of the children, which will go through the we will go in the part B syllabus, that is diseases and disorders in the children. Just these were the main points and ideal ranges of the preterm, postterm and term babies, which I tried to explain in short. If you have any doubts, please comment me, and that so that I will get clear that you are getting my class or not. If anything changes you want in my explanation, you can comment me and say, and here we will stop this point. Thank you.